Hello and welcome back to another one of our tech demos. Today we are looking at how we go about setting up a Unity project. Specifically, we're going to look at setting up a 2D project. So for those of you that are brand new to Unity, you're going to want to go to the unity.com download page right up here. You'll see it up in the top left-hand corner here. And this page changes from time to time, but essentially you're going to find all the options for your Unity Hub install. So obviously the big button right here will show you that it's got the download for Windows, but if you're a Mac user or a Linux user, you're going to see other options in here for you as well that you can follow. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on that. It's going to download up, and when it's done, you're going to see, I'm in the Chrome browser right now, so you're going to see it up here in the upper right-hand corner of mine in this little drop-down box. When I click on that and it is finished, you'll get the Unity Hub set up, and then you can just launch that, and that'll launch you into kind of the rest of what it's going to show you here, but you're going to see also the same type of input on Unity. So you got pretty good documentation for that. So this is just for people that kind of want a video to follow along while they're doing that. So as you set up your Unity Hub, you're going to download, set that up. And once you've installed it, your next step is going to be going in and choosing the Unity engine. So it's two different parts to working with Unity. You have the Unity Hub that's going to allow you to choose the different engines because you might be working on different projects and they're in different versions of the editor. And once we get into development, a lot of times we don't like to switch engines because that can introduce bugs. So you're going to see your hub come up and it'll look something like this here. So this is my Unity Hub. Once I've installed it and I've launched Unity Hub, it might start you on the Learn page. It might ask you to log in if you haven't ever logged in. So make sure that you've created your own login for Unity. It's free for the login, and then come up to your projects. And odds are you're going to have no projects in here to begin with because you haven't installed a editor yet. So in order to install an editor, you're going to look over here on the hub on the left-hand side right here. And what you're going to look for is the installs tab right there. So I'm going to click on that. That's going to take me to this. And I've got a number of them already installed here, but what you'll be able to do is choose an editor. If you don't have any inside this, you can look at the install editor button on the upper right-hand corner here, this lovely blue button. Click on that, and it's going to list all the current ones that are available to you and a couple of the previous versions as well. So you'll be able to see certain things like LTS versions as well as beta versions and so forth. So usually the most recent one will be up here, and the LTS is the long-term support. Now, if you have an older system and maybe you can't handle it, or you're working with an older project or trying to follow an older tutorial, you might be going under one of these other ones, depending on the capability of your system. But you're going to choose that, and you can see I've already got 3 of these installed. So if I needed to install one, I would just select the blue install button here and follow its on-screen prompts for that. So once I have that installed, close that for us here. You'll see some warnings. Sometimes when there's a security alert just before I go off this page, when you see something like this, it means that they found a vulnerability inside that version, and you should update that immediately and then delete or remove that one with the latest patch so that you don't keep building inside of an editor that maybe has a vulnerability inside of it. All right, so once I've got one installed, and I've got 3 of them or more here, I would go over to the Project tab right here again in the Hub section on the left-hand side. Click on projects, and I would want to create myself a new project inside here. And that's going to be the big blue button on the upper right-hand side here. So you can see I have a number of different projects inside here, but let me start a new one so you can see what that looks like. So if I click on the new project, let me clear that button there. Zoom's invited me. So if I come in here and click on this, you're going to have a number of different ones. And you can see as you scroll through here, it's quite a bit overwhelming your first time in here. So I recommend going and filtering this down because they have some in here that are for learning, some that are some samples, some that are core. In this case, I'm just going to focus in on the core right here. So I'll click on that one. Erase this out here so you know which one I chose. And I can see that there's universal 2D, 3D, and so forth. And I'm going to actually just focus right now on a universal 2D to get started. So if you are following this and wanting to do a similar type of project, you would just come in and you would click on the Universal 2D core, and you'll notice over on the right-hand side, this is kind of where your information is starting to appear for the project. Now, you haven't created a project yet. You actually have to come in here. You can set your Unity organization name. Obviously, we got Cozy Blends in there. You can sit there and click on what the project is. You'll notice this little cloud is indicating that this is a cloud-enabled project. If you want to just build this locally, you can change that just by clicking that little drop down, and you'll notice there's other options. So if you want to create one local and you've got enough hard drive space, you can go ahead and do that. So I'll switch this to the little PC icon there and build this locally. And then you need to type right there what your name of your project is. So in this case, I might be like, this is Universal 2D and Tech Demo. If everything else looks good for you and you've got it specific where you want it to install on your hard drive, if you're not sure, click that and make sure that that is showing that path. Now notice that this is giving me a warning that already exists because I've already created it, because it does take sometimes 30 minutes to possibly upwards of an hour to launch through the whole thing, depending on the speed of your computer and what kind of default you choose, because it has to load a lot of packages and a lot of different programs in there. That's only the first time. It'll be significantly faster after you do it the first time, but working in game and media development, there's a lot of software that we're going to bring in for libraries and so forth. So it takes it a little bit more time the first time around. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel myself right back out of here because I don't need to create another one. So I'll just exit out by hitting here, but you would hit the create button. And once it's done, you would see it create this, excuse me, you would see it create the entry for yours, and you would click it and you would launch it. And again, it would load for about 30 minutes, depending on how long it is. But I've already got it loaded up. So let me just go ahead and show you what it looks like once it's completed there. So when it's done, this is what my new Universal 2D Tech demo would look like. And what I would do just to kind of set the setup for me, a lot of times they start you in on console. You might not even have this original layout here. So if you want to change the layout of where all these windows are, which could be a bit overwhelming for people, just go up here to the upper right-hand corner, click the little layout drop down, and you can choose, different ones. If you want layout, default, you can choose any of these 4-3 split, whatever kind of feels like a comfortable layout for you. It's going to rearrange some of the windows here, but I'm going to leave it like this because it matches our other videos. So I don't want to move that around. But you feel free to. It is definitely dynamic and UI friendly for people. So what I'm going to do is by default, it usually drops me into the console page. And when I'm setting up my project, I actually want to go over to the project tab right here. This is really my file folder structure for the project. So I'm going to click on this, and you can see I've got this actually all expanded out, but odds are yours is going to look something like that, or maybe like this to begin with. Depending on if you loaded a example, there might have been another set of files inside here. But usually the first thing that you want to do once you set up a new project is to set up your asset folder. So this is where you're going to be bringing in models, scripts, saving your scenes, doing special effects materials, so forth in here, as well as your all-important prefabs. So I'm going to go ahead and inside my asset folder here, I'm just going to expand that by clicking that right there. And inside here, just like you would in your Windows or Mac system, you can right-click in here or double-click and go in here to create. And I'm going to create folders for each of these. So I'm going to create one for sprites. That's going to be essentially what I call my 2D images. So sprites, like that. And then I'll do the same thing. I can go create a folder for my scripts. And I'll create a folder in here for my prefabs. Those are going to be things when I build pieces and components of my program, and I want to have it as a prefab object to kind of use as a recipe to build other parts. That's going to be a very important folder for me to have. So right now, I should now have a assets folder with at least 4 subcategories: prefab, scenes, scripts. You have a settings in here by default and sprites, but the main ones I need is sprites, scenes, scripts, and my prefabs in here. All right. Now, the last thing I want to do is I want to save my scene, knowing that I've got this set up and ready for me to get working. So in order to save that, I can go up here to the menu up in the upper left, as I would in a lot of programs, and click on the file. Come down the drop down, and I'm going to do a save as here. And you'll notice that when it does that, you will see by default, in this case, it dropped me in my assets folder, and I can see those prefabs. I want to stay organized. Games and multimedia get very, very, very big in file size and structure pretty quickly. So I want to make sure I'm from day one putting my stuff into this. So I'm going to go into my scenes folder. I can see right now sample scene. That just happens to be the name of the sample scene. If you were keen-eyed, you probably noticed that it said that right up here, but I'm going to save this as my own scene right here, and I'll just call this my main scene or something like that, just so I know this is the one I created and I'm working on. So just name it like that. It's going to have the .unity file extension. That's how they go, and hopefully it's saved inside the scene file. Now, if for some reason I didn't save it in there, let's say I'd accidentally had it over here inside the assets folder, you can see right here, main scene is sitting right here. You can just click and drag these just like you would inside your Windows or OS system and release, and it will move them in there like that. All right, so we've saved all of it, and that's pretty much it. Now you're ready to start playing around with this. You can click on the other components and start to browse, but it's time for our next example, and we'll see you in the next tech demo. Have a good one.